Large parts of Greece are ablaze as hundreds of wildfires burn out of control. Holiday islands are now infernos, while residents in Athens' northern suburbs desperately try to beat back the flames. The scale of the tragedy is immense. Woodland areas are tinder dry, and now Britain is sending help. The wildfires follow the worst heat wave in Greece for 30 years. Also tonight.
Fire is the Olympic champion.
More golds for Team GB in Tokyo, including a win in flyweight boxing for the first time in more than 60 years. In Wales, no more social distancing as most COVID rules come to an end. And it's a disappointing end for the British and Irish Lions, losing their final test and the series in South Africa. Good evening. Britain is sending a team of firefighters to Greece to help in the battle against hundreds of wildfires that have forced thousands of people to flee their homes. The intense heat and flames have now reached the northern suburbs of Athens, and 2 people are confirmed dead, including a volunteer firefighter. The Prime Minister, Kyriakos Mitsotakis, says his country is suffering a nightmarish summer. Greece, like many parts of Europe, has been grappling with extreme weather in recent months. There's been widespread flooding and colder than average temperatures in Central Europe, while in the south there have been intense heat waves. Turkey, for instance, has also been hit by devastating wildfires. Our Europe correspondent Bethany Bell has the very latest now from Greece.
Greece is in the grip of an emergency. Wildfires have been blazing out of control for days. The extreme heat means these forests near Athens are like a tinderbox. Helicopters keep returning here to try and put out this fire, but it isn't working yet. This is the main north-south motorway near Athens, but it's been closed for 2 days because of all the fires round here, and the strong, scorching winds aren't helping. As the fire spreads down the hillside, people are frightened for their houses. In Athens, there's screams for help as the flames grow closer. People are desperately trying to put out the fires in any way they can. Thousands of people have been evacuated. Vasiliki in Athens told me she's worried for her family.
A big national tragedy.
Do you live around here?
I don't live here. My sister lives here. But it's horrible for the whole Greece.
This was the scene on the island of Evia last night. Ferries carried hundreds of people to safety after they fled to the beaches. Safe on board, one man filmed the inferno on his phone. The fire burned through a vast area of pine forests. Only the sea could stop it. Tonight, Evia is still burning, and the flames are spreading towards one of the island's largest towns. Here on the hills of the island of Evia, the fires are still burning out of control. The air is full of thick smoke and ash is falling through the air, rather like snowflakes. The emergency services are doing their best, they say, to combat the blaze, but it's a difficult task. They're helped a little bit this evening by the fact that the wind has died down for a while, but these flames are getting very close to some of the built-up areas around here, and people are very scared for their homes and their property.
Bethany, thank you for that. Bethany Bell there, live in Evia, which is just east of Athens. It's been another day of success for Team GB at the Olympics in Tokyo with 2 more gold medals. The boxer Galal Yafai won Britain's first gold in the men's flyweight division since 1956, while Joe Chung triumphed in the men's modern pentathlon. And there was more success in the diving pool, as Natalie Perks explains.
What a moment for Galalia 5.
From working in a car factory in Solihull to fulfilling your lifelong Olympic dream. It's been quite the 6-year ascent for Galalia 5.
So we are underway then.
In the men's flyweight final, Carlo Palam of the Philippines stood in his way, but Tokyo represented Yafai's shot at redemption, and he was determined to deliver a masterclass.
Right. Oh, and he's down. There you go.
His aggressive start won him the first round unanimously with the judges, and he never looked back.
Yes! And there is confirmation.
I'm Olympic champion, man. I'm just going to chill, relax with my family and friends, and then look at my next chapter after.
You can hear the vocal encouragement coming from Chung.
Yesterday, Kate French won gold in the women's modern pentathlon. Today, Jo Chung was determined not to be outdone. He'd led from the very start of the fencing, and with only 2 fences down in the show jumping, the world #1 took a 12-second lead into the final run and shoot. In the high-stakes game of laser tag, Chung showed composure, endurance and speed to beat Egyptian Ahmed El-Gheni in the last 200 metres and complete a glorious double for Team GB. This was Britain's first male gold in history.
New Olympic champion for Great
I've always said I want to be the best in the world at something, and I've been world #1, but it's not the same as winning a world champs or an Olympics, and this is literally a dream come true.
In the Olympic final for Great Britain's Tom Daley.
After the joy of synchronised gold, today Tom Daley was flying solo. As his son Robbie watched on from home with his husband, there was no knitting to alleviate the nerves this time. Just 6 dives between him and the individual gold he so craved.
Yes! Get in!
He got off to a cracking start, but his remarkable Chinese rivals soon turned the screw. Zhao Yuan became the first man in history to win Olympic gold in 3 different disciplines. His compatriot Yang Zhan took the silver. For Daley, bronze and a little piece of British diving history.
Well, that bronze is Tom Daley's 4th Olympic medal at his 4th Olympic Games. Just like a fine wine, he seems to be getting better with age. So, what's next?
I don't know. I've always said I'll keep going as long as my body will let me, or if I become an Olympic champion. But now I've become an Olympic champion, I'm kind of like, oh, well, that kind of felt good. I want to try and do that again. But, you know, I don't know. Hopefully they'll have the mixed synchro events in the Olympics next time, or the team event, and that'll be something that will definitely be worth coming back for.
That's something for him to chew over then for the next 3 years. Natalie Perks, BBC News, Tokyo.
There's been success in the velodrome too for Great Britain on the penultimate day of the Games. With more, here's Andy Swiss.
They're housemates back in Manchester, and look what they're taking home. In cycling's version of the relay, Matt Walls and Ethan Hayter proved the perfect combination, as a late burst in the Madison saw them surge to the silver.
It's been another superb ride.
There was also success in the athletics, as Norway's Jakob Ingebrigtsen charged to gold in the 1500 metres. Not far behind him was a new British star.
And a brilliant bronze medal for Josh Kerr.
23-year-old Josh Kerr winning Britain's first medal in the men's event since 1988.
You know, I have this weird confidence in myself. Some may call it cockiness, and today I felt like a world beater, and I just had to come out and perform.
There was history, meanwhile, in the javelin. Neeraj Chopra winning India's first ever gold in athletics. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi said his achievement would be remembered forever. But the day's biggest celebrations belong to Japan. For this baseball-mad nation, a first ever gold in the sport after beating the USA. And with each player getting a 10 million yen bonus, the wait has certainly been worth it. Andy Swiss, BBC News.
So, Great Britain lies 5th in the medals table. Tomorrow, the final day of the Games, there are 13 golds up for grabs. Now in Afghanistan, another provincial capital has fallen to the Taliban, the second in as many days. The militants have quickly captured half the country from government forces as US and other foreign troops withdraw. Well, our diplomatic correspondent Paul Adams is here with me. Paul, the speed of the Taliban advance, it's astonishing.
It really is. It's amazing to think, isn't it, Clive, that it's been almost 20 years now since US-led forces went into Afghanistan, defeating the Taliban, eventually installing a democratically elected government. And since then, the war has ebbed and flowed. But if you look at the map, look at the map of the territory that the Taliban held as recently as 2017, the areas in red here, you can see that they were only really in complete control of a handful of districts. Fast forward 4 years, and look how the situation has changed. The Taliban now controls huge swathes of Afghanistan. And a lot of this has happened in a few short months since President Biden announced the withdrawal of US-led forces, a process that's due to be completed just in a matter of weeks. The Afghans are still getting American support. They say that B-52 bombers carried out devastating airstrikes today, killing scores of Taliban fighters. But with Britain and America urging their nationals to withdraw from Afghanistan, the sense of abandonment and of crisis is one that is mounting all the time. And whether Afghanistan is being abandoned or not, that's an extremely dangerous perception for the people of Afghanistan to hold.
Indeed. OK, Paul, many thanks. Paul Adams there. Here, the government's latest coronavirus figures show there were more than 28,500 new infections in the latest 24-hour period. That makes an average of nearly 27,000 new cases per day over the last 7 days. 103 deaths were recorded in the last 24 hours. That's an average of 90 a day in the past week. Nearly 89% of adults in the UK now have had their first jab, and more than 74% are now fully vaccinated. And Wales has moved to COVID alert level 0, meaning social distancing rules and most other restrictions have now come to an end. People can gather indoors and nightclubs can reopen, but face masks still need to be worn in shops by law and on public transport. Here's Howell Griffith.
It's not quite ripping up the rules, but from today, life in Wales is far less limited. Social distancing is no longer written into law. No need to count how many people meet indoors. Face masks are still mandatory in shops and most indoor spaces, something Emma Kate says she can live with.
I think it's quite a good idea, really, because there's still a lot of vulnerable people. I don't like wearing them, but it's just something we've all had to do, really, isn't it?
For the manager here, it's about keeping customers confident. They can't afford to take risks.
We need to move steadily, gently to complete normality. It isn't going to happen overnight. But we do need to build our trade up because since we've reopened, we're only taking about 60% of what we took in 2019.
While there's obvious relief at ending some of the restrictions people have had to live with for almost a year and a half, there's already some nervousness about the months ahead. The Welsh Government has warned that the rise of another coronavirus variant could yet mean having to reimpose some control measures. Barring people from the bar again would be unpalatable for many in the beer trade. From today, table service and masks are no longer legally required in Welsh pubs, restaurants and cafes. They hope they've seen the last of lockdowns.
Basically, we've taken no money. We've managed to survive with the brewery. We've got the independent brewery, plus we've been doing home deliveries. But if we hadn't have had that, I don't know if we'd have survived. And I think the pubs in general are struggling.
Everyone hopes today is a first taste of real, lasting freedom. But for now, few are getting carried away. Howell Griffith, BBC News, Maes Teg.
Now, with the rest of the day's sport away from the Olympics, here's Chetan Pathak at the BBC Sports Centre. Hi there, Chetan.
Thanks, Clive. Hi there. Good evening. Away from the Olympics, as you say, there was heartbreak for the British and Irish Lions in Cape Town as South Africa snatched victory in the deciding test. Katie Gornall reports.
At times, this tour has been in the eye of a storm. After overcoming obstacles just to be here, now one more huge challenge remained. That challenge appeared to grow with the early departure of Dan Biggar. His replacement, Finn Russell, hadn't played for 5 weeks. Still, he looks sharp. It would get even better for the Lions when Ken Owens and company muscled over. They led by 4 at the break. But momentum would swing throughout, and South Africa had Cheslin Kolbe, a man who could twist to the line in no time. This was now a test of nerve. Russell tied the game late on, but the Springboks still had something up their sleeve. Morné Steyn's kick broke Lions' hearts way back in 2009. Incredibly, he struck again.
Not going to be easy going away, travelling away from home, playing the world champions, and it was a really tight contest. And yeah, we're disappointed. It could have got anyway, but congratulations to South Africa.
A remarkable series victory for South Africa as the Lions are left licking their wounds. This one will hurt for some time. Katie Gornall, BBC News.
A brilliant century from Joe Root. The first test against India at Trent Bridge tomorrow could be a grandstand final day, as Adam Wilde reports.
Dry skies, a welcome sight above Trent Bridge, but below these are troubled times for England's top batsman. England's chances, even England careers at stake. Pressure that brings mistakes. First Rory Burns, then Zach Crawley with nervous nudges. England desperate for a batsman to stay around, drop anchor, take root. Well, take that. Joe Root, the captain, taking control. For others, still less to cheer. Johnny Bairstow was making some noise. That's before he was politely told to keep it down. Whilst the others departed, Root remained. A quite brilliant century, dragging England right back into this match. He eventually fell for 109, Trent Bridge rising in recognition. At close, India need 157 more. With a day to go, Root has given his side a chance. Adam Wilde, BBC News.
And the FA Cup winners, Leicester, won the Community Shield, beating Premier League champions Manchester City 1-0, ensuring Jack Grealish's debut ended in defeat. Joe Linsky has more.
They just signed a player for £100 million, but would start him on the bench. Such is Manchester City's strength in depth. With Jack Grealish, they feel they're even better than before. But at Wembley, their first half star wasn't Jack, but Zach. American goalkeeper Zach Steffen somehow stopping Jamie Vardy. Leicester were here as FA Cup winners. They play with a determination to chase back like this to stop Riyad Mahrez. And so City called for their new star, but the Grealish impact never came. Instead, the champions showed they can be beaten. In the confusion, Nathan Ake had made the foul. Kelechi Iheanacho got up and scored it. For Leicester City, it means so much to both beat the superstars and lift the trophy. Joe Linsky, BBC News.
And there's more on the BBC Sport website, including reaction to Rangers' 1-0 defeat at Dundee United in the Scottish Premiership. Back to you, Clive.
Chetan, thank you for that. And that's it. So, from me and the rest of the team, have a very good night.